Are we back?
There
We're
we
back!
go.
Yay!
Yay!
So sorry about that. My computer lost internet. For whatever reason.
I threw out a couple things in chat just while we were working on getting that fixed. So I think Goose and Cape Satan had some pretty cool suggestions there.
Oh? I couldn't see it, so...
You can see it or you can't?
I can't.
Oh, maybe. Okay. So they said, I asked, do you think everyone born under an eclipse also has heterochromia? Is that something that is just like a thing in this universe? Or
that'd be
was
cool.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Or was it just coincidence, and then Bryn just kind of like had two strokes of bad luck, and people shit on her for two different minute things that she couldn't control? So Goose said that would be cool. Maybe numerous things are possible, like ambidextrous people are also born under an eclipse. So it's just like this magical association with an eclipse where some of these interesting genetic things come out. Satan said, I love the first idea that people are born under an eclipse has heterochromia. Yeah, okay, and I guess that's it. And then Geekier.
I really like the idea of having, like, being born under an eclipse is... what if it's the opposite? Like, being born under an eclipse is something really cool.
Oh, okay.
So rather than... like, for instance, one thing could be that that's how ASMR come to be.
Oh, okay.
Or maybe, like they said, like if you're born under an eclipse, you could become ambidextrous, or get heterochromia, or heightened hearing, or sense of smell, or things like that.
Yeah.
Or it is basically just like, oh well, people who are born under the eclipse do get heterochromia, but it's been built up so that, like, the folklore is that you get all these different powers if you're born under an eclipse.
Okay. Interesting.
But they don't have to be true.
Do you think it would be a socially advantageous, thing to be born under an eclipse?
I think it.
So, like, you're going to be looked at in a positive light, or is it like in a weird light?
I think it's in a weird. A positive but weird light. So, like,
okay.
I'm trying to find a good, like, comparison here, where it's kind of like prodigies.
Ah, okay, yeah.
Is that a good way to put it? Like, where
I think so.
You can be. Is like, it's super cool, but it's also a little bit creepy.
I could see that. Yeah. Okay, so it could swing either way, just kind of based on the details then.
I think there's basically no middle ground. You either love it or you hate it.
I could see that, because what could actually happen... Oh, I do love what Salt said, too. You get mutations depending on celestial phenomenons. That's really interesting. So maybe astronomers and astrologists start to appreciate it.
Ooh, yeah.
I like that.
So depending on, like, if it's a moon eclipse, one thing happens. If it's a solar eclipse, something else happens. And even, like, oh, you were born when the planets are aligned.
Yeah.
Or some
There's so much to work with. Yeah, planetary alignment, comets going by, maybe like a different colored comet or a weirdly shaped one. That... I really like that.
As for her heterochromia, I kind of like the idea of it being a relatively subtle heterochromia. Maybe one eye is like ice blue, this very bright light, icy blue color. And the other one is a darker blue.
Yes, yeah.
So that rather than being two completely different colors, they are just two different shades of the same color.
Right. And I like the unsettling aspect of that, like, ice blue eye, too. I feel like that would be just, like,
where
a
it's
little
like,
piercing.
Because I can imagine a lot of double takes being made. Because you don't notice it at a quick glance. It's when you... Like, if you just walk past her, you wouldn't notice.
Yeah.
But if you stop and talk to her and look her in the eyes, you would absolutely notice it.
And if you don't know how cool she is, you could probably be pretty intimidated too.
Yeah.
Like the first time sitting down with
Exactly.
having that conversation.
It's the Goose writes, I like the idea of having eclipses having that folklore feel where people are superstitious about the mutations, but it hasn't really been scientifically proven. So it's just seen as a coincidence, and some of the mutations may not be discovered by the person yet. I really like that, where it's like, because that also leaves a lot of creative freedom for the DM. To not have set in stone like a rule that when this happens. But you can have a lot of fun playing around with the whole aspect of like, oh, you were born under a bad sign.
Yes,
or
exactly.
Whatever, like.
I also like what you said about love it or hate it, because I could totally see maybe it would be like more educated elements of society. Maybe it would even just be like superstitious elements of society that take it in a different way.
Mm-hmm.
But there could be the ones that seek out these prodigies or these anomalies and are just like, oh, this is great, you're so cool, have a crystal. And then there could be the other ones who are just like, oh no, people with heterochromia, they eat babies. Everyone knows this, it's proven, and it's not.
Yeah.
But there could be those elements within the society that could be antagonistic towards that.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you could have both very like appreciative people, and then you can have real xenophobic people.
Precisely.
Where like, we don't like your kind around here, that whole shtick.
Yeah, not that I would know anything about that living in the southern United States. Totally foreign concept.
Let's not get political.
Moving on.
Like in The Witcher, the princess was born under a red moon, and the wizard got super scared of it. Yeah, like that first episode of the Witcher series.
Yeah.
It's a Goose writes, and then that can explain why people with innate ability for magic, like sorcerers. Yes! You could even have that be like, you could reskin one of the sorcerer's origins to be celestial. Like, what was that one called? The healer sorcerer. I don't remember what that one's called.
I don't remember.
I think it's like Radiant Soul, or...
I think it's Radiant Soul.
Yeah. You could have that be like the celestial origin or something like that.
I could see that.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, it's the Goose. Thank you for following.
Hey, thank you.
And then Small Town Salt writes, certain phenomenons might be sought after by families seeking to have their children blessed by the powers beyond. They try to figure out the patterns to understand how to benefit from it. Yeah, exactly. Like, like you have, on the one hand, you have the people who are terrified of people who are born under an eclipse or a celestial alignment or whatever. And then you would have people who are the other way, who think it's the coolest shit ever, and like, if you have a pregnant woman and she thinks it's the coolest, of course she will try to figure out like, oh, when is the next thing gonna happen? Yeah. That's when I want to have my baby. And exactly. I could even see on a like sadder note, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Lion, hi. I could even
Lion?
see like women who are desperate for that trying to do things which could result in miscarriages.
Oh God, yeah.
Like they're trying to force the baby out early.
Right.
Or try to keep the baby in, or stuff like that. Like, it could have a really dark side to it as well.
I like it. It's upsetting, but it's taking it to a three-dimensional part, because these people would be there. People are going to have a diversity of ideas, and you got to have sort of that like good ideas and bad ideas butting up against each other. That's really interesting. it'd probably make for a good what's the word I'm looking for? Like my parents died or something awful happened backstory, and that's why I'm like a really salty rogue or something like that.
Yeah.
I could totally see that just sliding into the lore of the world.
Absolutely.
Do
you guys give advice for our own worlds, or do you just focus on yours? This is still a very new show, so the format hasn't been completely set in stone. I think like the main idea was to focus on this world, but in doing so, we also do. You know, we talk about different ideas and different things, and people can kind of like cherry pick what they like to use for their own worlds.
Well, and I think the techniques that we use and sort of the some of the things that we throw around, the questions that we ask, I think those are things that you could pick up and use to create your own worlds too, or to further flesh out your own worlds. So
but
I think there's a lot.
It could, like I said, the format isn't set in stone. Maybe I could. Especially once we get a little bit larger viewer base and stuff, I could start having like, the last half hour or hour of the stream is just like a Q&A.
Yeah, totally.
That makes it sound like we are experts, but
an open conversation.
Yeah.
How about that?
Oh, thank you, Goose. And Lion writes. Would also be really cool if it disturbs other things like tarot readings and stuff like that. You're just out of alignment, so scrying orbs and... Oh god, the chat is scrolling. So tarot readings and stuff like that, you're just out of alignment, so scrying orbs and things that interact with the soul can't find a way to communicate with the Eclipse born.
Pretty interesting.
Ooh, is that going to be the name of that type of people? Eclipse-born? That's
Eclipse
pretty cool.
born? I like it. Has a nice ring to it.
Okay, well, that's awesome. Happy I'm here to help the channel grow. Thank you very much. But please, you can always join our Discord and give us feedback there. Yes. And there is a link. There it is. I'd love both feedback for the world and also feedback for the show and the channel. And like Sarah said, this is our second episode, so we're still figuring out how to do this. So any feedback for episode format and stuff is also very welcome.
Yeah, totally.
Sounds awesome, Eclipse-born. Yeah, I think so too. So, actually, I'm gonna, rather than writing she was born under an eclipse, I'm gonna write she's an eclipse born. There we go. Circumstances of death. She's not dead yet. I'm not dead yet.
I'm getting better.
Oh, so good. Honorific title.
I don't think she would want one. Maybe just captain if you're one of her men.
There we go. She doesn't want one, so stop asking.
Perfect.
Given name. Was her given name Bryn? I think so, right?
I think so.
Family name.
Family name.
Any suggestions from chat?
I wonder if she would even use one.
Svensson.
Really
This is on Worldbuilding. Yes, it is.
Perfect.
At a later point, it would be useful to write a complete list of relevant celestial events for mutating babies. Yeah.
Cool.
Either that, or like the DM can decide themselves what they want.
Yeah, I think we could definitely come up with some suggestions, but just by all means, like, think up your own shit. that's customize it to your own setting and your own vibe.
Bryn Taylor says, Denise. Hi, Denise.
What up?
Taylor could be interesting because it could be, like, kind of like the name Smith.
Sure.
And names like that where it's like you're named after the profession that you come from.
Okay.
So maybe her parents were tailors?
I could see it, yeah.
Luna.
My question would be, how did she end up doing like the hard, rough, tough, somewhat kind of exiled mercenary life? Oh no!
It's the goose.
A link.
Yeah, it's Nightbot is very harsh with those kind of things. It even it even muted Sarah at one point. But yeah, I kind of like Taylor, but spelled like the profession.
Yes.
Having a list of events can be good to have as a reference list alongside some guiding notes for understanding the events. Yes, that sounds really good actually. Like just like you have in like the official D&D books, often it's like, well, you can make up your own shit, but here are some suggestions if you're having trouble coming up with them.
Yeah, precisely. I bet we could even come up with like a rolling table for it. Like, hey, here's 12 celestial events that may happen and 12 characteristics you may get.
Yeah. I was just recommending Fantasy Calendar, where you can make moon cycles, events based on moon cycles, biomes, and weather patterns based on the individual biome. Cool.
Always writing that
down. Sarah, maybe can we get on? Like, do we have a Discord chat where you can post links? Awesome, because that sounds really cool, and I hate, because we all understand the reasoning for having the bot not do links and stuff with all the other bots that like want to become famous, click this link, blah blah blah. But some of the links that you guys come up with are really good, so we still want to see them. So just post those in the Discord.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, thank you.
We really want it, but it prevents just real spam. We got that yesterday a lot.
Yeah.
So that's
oh boy.
why. So it's nothing against you guys personally. So just post it in the Discord and, we'll figure it out.
Hearts. Lion says, would be nice to make a chart with that, and depending on what you roll, you get different advantages and disadvantages. Yeah. That could be like a really cool feature that you could have for any race or anything. Like you could, when you create the character, you can ask the player, like, do you want to be born under a celestial circumstance? It could even be that, people confuse genetics with celestial events.
Yeah.
So they chalk up different things, like not that it exists in the D&D world, but for instance, like a character has ADHD. That's not a mental disorder. That is a circumstance from a celestial alignment of some sort in people's minds.
Yeah, I even I like the ambiguity of it. So maybe this could even be like a point for a campaign at some point, maybe people don't know. So like there's people that are convinced that like, no, there's actual, more reliable scientific reasons for why this happens. And then other people are completely convinced with their own evidence that they believe, like, no, totally, it's the gods, it's the stars, it's all this. And there's this ambiguity where we don't really have enough information to see who's correct. I don't know.
Yes. I fully agree. So
yes, exactly.
I can see the chat at the moment. Could you do me the solid and read it out?
Yeah, Goose said that could be like the astronomers versus cosmologists stuff. Because we'd even floated the idea earlier, I think, based on another suggestion by Goose, it was either Goose or Salt, about astronomers maybe being an element of society that is a little more highly lauded. Astronomers are kind of important, like those water mages were, in a different way. So yeah, maybe there is this these. I don't know if it's like specific factions or maybe just different ideologies that would compete in some of these civilized areas of like, yes, religious side or stars or superstition, and then there's the other ones that's like, no, I built a magic telescope, I'm looking at this stuff. Like, maybe that could be a little point of contention. It'd be cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Because, I mean, I like to look at history to see, especially when it comes to these types of things, like religion and science, and what do like common people think. I like looking at history because, I mean, you can pretty clearly tell that once communications got better in our history, technology just skyrocketed, because all of a sudden you didn't have to rediscover the wheel everywhere. You could just be like, hey, check this wheel out, this is how you make it. And so on and so forth. So obviously there would be some experts that know exactly like how this stuff works, but you go to a random farm, that farmer won't know that shit. He didn't go to school. There was no school. Or, whatever. Like,
yeah.
So I really like that idea.
Very cool.
Okay, mental stuff. Personal history, employment. Oh, wow, there are a lot of things here. Do we want to do this deep dive now, or Eclipse Born? Denise says, or Mizuki-chan says, Eclipse Born almost sound like a legend, like a chosen one. If you have ever seen Avatar: The Last Airbender, like one is born in every generation. And Lions says that hierarchy already exists between different fields. Just because people look down on people that study or practice it doesn't mean that it's not a correct science.
Sure.
Yeah. As for what Mizuki-chan wrote, I'm thinking it's kind of like in the Forgotten Realms setting. That's kind of how they explain ASMR. They are often in like the Forgotten Realms settings. ASMR are born with a connection to the Celestials, and often have like a guardian angel watching over them and telling them they are born with a purpose, something they need to do, and stuff like that. And it kind of sounds to me that like this would be kind of similar. Gecko says, can you guys move on to creating this group of Eclipse Born? The person can always be worked on later. Yes.
Yeah, definitely.
It feels like that's what we're talking about anyway, so let's go to the dashboard. And
bye, Salt.
Oh no! Salt!
Thanks for joining, though.
Yeah, and I can do a little mini reveal that unfortunately we will only be able to have Eli for the first half of this episode.
Yep.
But for the second half, Small Town Salt will be joining me.
Ah, awesome. I got fired, so that's fine.
No, you did not. You certainly did not. But yeah, let's see. What would this go under? Myth? Legend?
Probably
Or
legend.
condition?
Ooh, maybe condition if we're talking about the Eclipseborn, because it is a thing.
It could also be an ethnicity, technically.
True. It's true. It
What
might
do we
transcend ethnicity, unless we feel like that's the direction we want to take it.
What did you say?
What did I say?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I guess. So it could be something that transcends ethnicity in this civilization, or we could take it in a direction where, yeah, even though it even seems a little comical, a little bit weird, maybe it even is viewed as an ethnicity. So you could be an orc, you could be a sea elf, you could be a kinku, but if you have these characteristics, you might still be kind of labeled and lumped into this group, just based on the way that this culture works.
That does sound kind of cool. Like, they would be considered their own race?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe make this as a group. I mean, it could be an organization, but I kind of feel like since this is something that seems to just kind of happen to people,
Yeah.
I'm sure there would be a group that are related to Eclipseborn. Kind of like an X-Men kind of situation.
Yes. I love it.
And there's the comparison I was looking for before. Jesus Christ. Because some people love the X-Men, but a lot of people are scared of them.
Right.
There's the comparison.
I like that.
Because it's cultural. Yeah. I agree. But yeah, so let's say ethnicity.
Sure.
We will call it Eclipse Born. Cool.
Ooh. Cape Satan had a good question. Do the followers of Zol hate the Eclipseborn?
Yeah. I don't know.
Because it feels out of character for how we viewed them so far.
Yeah,
and yet
I
at the same
feel like
time-
it's probably more the Church of Aquarius that hates
Sure.
the Eclipseborn. They feel more elitist.
Sure. What if there was an element in sort of that militant wing of the followers of Zol, the more gung ho, let's go kick some ass ones? What if there was an element within that part of the Zolists that did view it negatively? Because obviously their whole thing is the sun is great, fire is great. So if you're born at a time when the sun's not shining, that's bad. So maybe it's not a big thing, but maybe there is a group.
That is very true, though. It could be. Maybe it's that the followers of Zol, they don't hate them, but they do fear them.
I could see that, yeah. Maybe that could even be the spark of a campaign arc for a campaign that was set on that side of the continent. So one that would take place primarily in like the Zolist lands. Maybe there is sort of an extremist splinter group within one of those islands that really, really doesn't like Eclipseborn, and that could be the PC's opportunity to go, hey, that sucks, and then start like having to pick some sides on some of these factions. What do you think about chat?
Yeah, sorry. I'm trying to type away as fast as I can. I'm not a very
It's all
fast
good. It's all good.
typer.
The Eclipse Born sounds so cool. Yep, agree. This is one of those really cool ideas that I want to steal and put in my own campaign right away. I definitely do see the Church of Aqueous being more widely like, oh, this is bad, this is heresy, blah blah blah. It seems fitting for their MO so far. Yeah, you're right. It ain't stealing. We're creating this together. You got it.
Yeah. In when it comes to this world, there is no such thing as stealing. I've actually, especially when it comes to world building and D&D stuff, my philosophy has always been mimicry is the highest form of compliment.
Yep.
Like, whenever I've heard that someone has stolen an idea of mine, I've been like, yes!
Yeah, what
I
an
thought
honor!
It was cool! So I go ahead, steal whatever you want.
No need to steal, comrade, is yours.
Yes. Yeah, that's probably good. Eclipse-born are people that are born under various celestial events. Should be an S there. Such as solar/lunar eclipse, a meteor shower, or planetary alignment.
Yep, makes sense to me.
Cool.
That's just
Family
the road you
names.
talking.
I think. Oh, I should probably add that too. That's just the roguing you talking.
Got me.
The Eclipse.
Yep. Spot on, Mizuki-chan.
Once upon a time, there was a light in my life, but now there's only love in the dark. Nothing I can say. A total eclipse of the heart. The theme song, yes. They can have various.
That one, I'm pretty sure, actually is copyrighted, so you might be careful about stealing that.
Yeah. Various cultures, names, etc. I was just adding that to make it easier because here, for instance, we have what kind of names do they have, but I feel like that is more up to. That's probably more along the lines of what the race is.
Sure.
But we could also write in. Let's put that under other names.
You had mentioned the idea of maybe some of these Eclipse-born do, after birth and after being out in the world a little bit, some of them maybe do come together and start to form a cultural identity of their own. Not all of them necessarily, but some may cluster together and do that. Maybe it's even a situation where either children who are born to families that are already identifying with this group, or individuals who become a part of this group, maybe they rename themselves. So maybe there's names that have like sort of that cosmic, star, spacey.
Yeah, I was just writing here that many parents choose to name their the wrong kind of there. Is that right? No, that's not the right one.
Hang on, let me pull it up.
It's
there
we
go.
I wrote like 3 different theirs before.
It's okay. Goose, I have not seen that. It sounds pretty cool though.
They use appliances and stuff as instruments. It's hilarious. Oh yeah, I don't know if I've seen exactly that one, but I've seen similar things. It's really cool.
It's a good
Does
question.
Eclipse-born hide their mutations, or are they celebrated? I think it depends a lot.
Yeah.
Like, because I think it's a lot like I really feel the X-Men comparison here. Just like the X-Men, some of them are super open about it, and some of them hide it.
Yep. I think it depends on where they're born and who they're born around too.
Yeah.
Even two people with the same characteristics, if they're born in a certain part of the city, or maybe in the outskirts of the city, or on the road, or
Indeed,
they might have two completely different experiences.
So I wrote this down. I don't know what you guys think of it, but I'm thinking that many parents choose to name their children after the celestial events they were born under.
Yeah, it would make sense.
For good or for bad.
Mm-hmm.
Or for better or for worse is probably more the expression. But yeah.
What would some examples of that be, do you think?
I think like Luna would be a pretty common name.
Astrid?
Astrid, yeah. If it was like an asteroid.
Yeah, okay. I can see that, yeah.
It could also be Eclipse. It could be
Stella?
Yeah. A lot of names like that.
Yeah.
Beauty ideals. Gender ideals. I feel like a lot of these things are kind of hard to fill in because it varies so much.
Sure.
Maybe we can come back to it later once we have like the group.
Sure, absolutely.
Customs. Do they have any customs?
Maybe once we get a feel for what some of the other dominant parts of society are and where the Eclipse-born fit into that and in what role, I think that would be a good foundation to set up those smaller details.
Yeah. So I think we'll save it like this for now.
Gucci.
Did it save it? Yes. Good.
Perfect.
One thing I really would like to talk about is the Hellbite.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think of that, chat? Should we talk more about the Hellbite? Get a little bit more into the nitty-gritty of it? Or do you want to talk about something else?
Hellbite is the big it's the big lava divide.
Oh yeah. Also, I just remember that, for instance, Goose is new here, so we can recap that real quick.
Ooh, yes.
So the basic premise that we have for this world is that the world has been basically divided in two halves because of something, we haven't decided exactly what yet, caused a huge gash in the middle of when I do these kind of things, I like to envision before I know what the land looks like. I like to use our Earth as reference. So I'm thinking, like, imagine that something made a huge gash right across the Atlantic Ocean. Dividing the Americas from Europe and Africa and whatnot. And so in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, there's a huge, massive river of lava. Because the gash went so deep, it got close to the Earth's core. So there are two huge mountain ranges that cuts the sea off. And then in between those two huge mountain ranges is just a big river of lava. And we talked about that on the side that we're working on now. They believe that basically it was like a monster that came and ate half the world, but was stopped before he could eat the entire world. So they believe that there is just this half of the world, and the other half is just inside the monster, which is basically hell. So, what I mean when I ask if we want to talk more about the Hellbite is, do we want to, for instance, decide what is the canonical thing that caused the big scar? Is it the same thing as the people who live there think it is? Or is it something different that they haven't discovered yet? Or do some people know and some people don't? And in that case, who knows and who doesn't? There are a lot of things to talk about with that. So we could talk about that, or we could just go over some geographical features, kind of prep for when we have the map drawing episode. There's also, we could always make one of the cities. We could make another settlement. We could also make some more NPCs for the starting area that we were talking about.
Mm-hmm.
What are you feeling, chat? What are you feeling, Eli?
Honestly, I could go any way with it. I'm more interested to hear what the chat has to say. I mean, I'm always going to be interested in the Hellbite, and I'm also really interested to flesh out that starting area some more. So I think even one of those would be good.
Hmm. Oh, you're getting blurry.
Oh no! Okay, I'm gonna fuck up the layout for 2 seconds. I'm sorry. Beep beep. Okay.
Hey,
okay.
There we go. Starting area?
Hooray.
Yeah, sure.
Cool.
So we have a little bit about the starting area. We can start by just recapping that, both for our sake and for yours. For now, we've named it Bryns Outpost. I think we're going to... The one thing we decided was that it was going to be named after Bryn, and she hates it.
Mm-hmm.
But whether it's going to be specifically Bryns Outpost or something else, we'll see.
Could even be something like Brynstad or something. I don't know.
Ooh, I kind of like that. So like this?
Let me pull you up.
Brynstad.
I'm looking for it.
Do the militia there have a name? Not really. So it's a mercenary militia. And that's about it. So this area is it's a small outpost. It used to be just like a place that geographically lent itself to be a good resting stop to water horses, rest up a little bit while having trade caravans go to and from between two larger cities.
Mm-hmm.
But bandits noticed that this area was very lucrative for their business, so to speak. And they eventually started setting up camp there and started charging a toll to go through. The merchants weren't happy with this, so they hired a bunch of mercenaries to get rid of the bandits. But the bandits had started basically fortifying the area. But this mercenary named Bryns, along with some other mercenaries, did manage to take out the bandits. And basically, Bryns decided to set up shop and protect the area from more bandits. And over time, mercenaries decided that, hey, since there's already a fortification here, why don't we just start making like a little outpost? And some people moved there, started up inns. Some people moved there and started up like stables and watering services and stuff like that. So basically the entire livelihood of this place is to cater to caravans. And they get their food supply through these caravans. The Scourge. Maybe.
Sounds kind of sinister.
Yeah, it sounds a little sinister.
I think we talked about too how so the merchants and the mercenaries kind of, I think we referred to it as mutually assured destruction.
Yeah. So I do agree. It is a cool name.
Cool name.
And we're definitely locking that up for potential later use.
Yeah.
But I think, yeah, like you said, Eli, that basically the mercenaries and the merchants have this kind of like deal where it's basically mutually assured destruction. If the mercenaries get out of line, then the merchants cut off their supply of food and water. And if the merchants stop giving them food and water, then the merchants won't let them get through. Or the mercenaries won't let them get through the area, which will strangle their livelihood. So, as long as this balance is kept up, things work just fine. So, rather than being forced to pay a toll, the merchants pay like a little tax or a fee for the protection services and stuff, in the form of giving them a small percentage of what they are trading. Yeah, Bandit's Bane. I was thinking the exact same thing when you wrote the Scourge. I was like, Bandit's Scourge, Bandit's Bane. But yeah, it's nice to know that your head is in the right direction, so to speak.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm trying to say, but
no, yeah. You're right.
Yes, drinking water is really hard to find. And I think that they have one well there. Or some kind of naturally occurring water, and that's why that was such a good resting spot.
Right.
But I think that it's just barely enough. Like, one season of drought will be a huge problem. And there's a potential adventure hook. What if something is causing the water to disappear? It could be, for instance, the bandits getting revenge by building a dam. Or,
like that.
Or something like that. Or it could be... there's also a hook where you could have that someone, either a mercenary or a merchant, is trying to disrupt the balance. And the party needs to find this person and deal with it in whatever way. I don't know. Yes, hi new viewers. Wow, we have 14 viewers right now. Whew.
Awesome. Good deal.
Yeah. We love you guys.
Woo.
Yeah, so basically they serve as a resting stop, more or less.
Is the town near a forest?
Good question.
Good
Is it?
question.
I think so, right?
Yeah.
Because I get the feeling that that's kind of part of it. It's probably like there's some forest which makes it less safe to travel, and that's why this clearing with the fortifications and stuff, like that's another reason why it was a popular resting spot, because there was a little bit of water, and it was also an advantageous spot. Maybe it was like surrounded by hills on one side, so that you could only be attacked from one direction.
Mm-hmm.
And it made it easier to keep watch or something like that.
Yeah, definitely. I don't super picture it as like like an incredibly bountiful forest either. I almost see maybe like lots of trees. Maybe there's not a ton of wildlife, or the wildlife that is there is not something that wouldn't really be conducive or helpful to
exactly. I think we established that about the world, like because of some kind of like radiation or something. The wild is super dangerous.
Yeah.
And that's why like huge parts of the world at this point is still unexplored, because only the bravest and most foolish and strongest are able to travel great distances to explore.
Mm-hmm.
So probably it's like the wildlife that is there is like, I mean, it could explain, like, say that our world were to have this catastrophe, and all of a sudden, like, you know, the deer that you see out normally, which are cute and scary and scared, they suddenly become these like hell beasts with like acid horns and you know, like they've doubled in size and they're ultra aggressive.
Exactly. Maybe the meat isn't even safe to eat either. So even if you can manage to kill one, it still might be toxic for a humanoid to ingest it.
Probably. I think at the very least it's like it could be possible that it's viable if you prepare it in a particular way. You can eat some of it. It could be like maybe it's like eating that meat cooked is like for us to eat raw meat. In a pinch, like if you're starving, then you don't have much choice. You can do it, but it might not be super safe necessarily.
Right.
Cape Satan writes, so the town is set near an oasis, but in the grasslands instead of a desert. Yeah, kinda.
Mm-hmm.
Which makes sense because we have the water shortage that we've established.
Exactly.
I kind of like that. It's like a little oasis in a grassland. Maybe that's just it. Like on one side there is forest, and on the other side it's grassland.
Right. I could see that.
So, because that would pretty naturally become like a resting point, because it becomes a pretty good landmark for people. Like, oh, here's where the forest starts. Let's rest up before we go through the forest. Or if you're coming from the other direction, it's like, oh, we're out of the forest. Let's rest up and then continue on.
Yep, I think that fits
I like that. I'll just write it in the free form text here.
Cool.
One side forest, one side grassland.
Woodsmoke.
I kind of like that.
It's got a frontiersy name to it, yeah.
I mean, we would have to give up the town being named after Bryn, but I'm kind of okay with that.
Yeah.
Or what if that's Bryn's last name?
Bryn Woodsmoke? Ha! Oh, it works on both levels then.
Yeah.
She'd still be comfortable with it, but it would also be fairly descriptive. Yeah.
No, I actually really like the name Woodsmoke.
I think that works, yeah.
Because like the more I say it, it actually sounds like a town name. Like,
right, yeah.
welcome to the town of Woodsmoke.
Woodsmoke.
Because you stop thinking about it as being wood smoke and just
Yeah.
wood smoke.
Exactly. It's its own thing.
Yeah, exactly, because she doesn't like recognition or titles.
Yep.
Oh,
Precisely.
did you mean that like they were telling her in the beginning, like, oh, it's just a placeholder name until we have a proper name. We just name it after you.
Okay.
And they never did. I kind of like that.
Sure. Yeah.
Hey, Guma.
Oh, Gecko.
It's one of the dragons.
Is that Ilya or is that the other
That's Flare, right?
one? Flare.
Yep.
Yeah,
Awesome.
that's Flare.
Oh, camera shy.
Yeah, shy. Period.
Aw. So cute.
I just wanted to show her off.
Yeah. She's so cool, cute.
Yeah, she's a little derp.
Okay, so I'm just going to quickly hop over to Bryn's article so
Sweet.
I can rename her Woodsmoke.
Bryn Woodsmoke.
That sounds a
Great.
pretty cool name.
Yeah, I agree. It's growing on me.
There we go. And it's been saved. Good. And then we go back to Woodsmoke. There we go. An oasis in the middle. In a strategic. That can't be right. I can't spell. We know what it is.
It's Cally.
Right. There we go.
Yeah.
That looks better.
Yay!
English is not my first language anymore.
It is my only fluent language, so we'll help each other out.
You're learning Swedish.
I was about to say, and you're helping me with my Swedish, so
Yeah, you're getting good.
thank you.
That's what I wrote on your stream yesterday. In the thing I wrote in Swedish,
Uh,
I wrote, "You're getting
thank
good at
you.
Swedish."
Thank you. I appreciate it. Well, the fact that I couldn't read it is clear evidence that you're wrong.
I mean,
Just kidding.
over
No.
time.
It is much, much appreciated.
But I digress. In a strategically advantageous position. There we go. What else we got? Me? It's kind of convoluted because my dad's American, my mom's Swedish. They were living in the U.S. When Mom got pregnant, but because giving birth is both cheaper and better in Sweden, she decided to fly to her parents in Sweden, give birth to me, and then fly back. So I was actually born in Sweden. But we lived in San Bruno, California for the first 2.5 years of my life. And then we moved to Gothenburg, Sweden, where I basically didn't say a word for 2 weeks. My parents got really worried, but then it turned out that I'd just basically been osmosing.
I know what you mean.
Yeah, I'd just been absorbing the Swedish language like a sponge through osmosis, and 2 weeks later I just started talking fluent Swedish, and I'd basically forgotten English. So I've grown up in Sweden, but we did go to visit my grandparents in Beloit, Wisconsin, every 2 years or so.
So cool.
Yeah. Hey, welcome back, Salt. Okay, we got about 5 minutes before our break.
Goose, you're right.
So what else we got for Woodsmoke?
Are other people settling there, or is it just the merchants and the mercenaries who live there full time?
I think
Is it
that
growing?
The majority are mercenaries, but I think there are also people who have seen opportunity to start
That's what I was
businesses.
It's a boom town.
Yeah,
It's like a boom
it's an
town
up and
during the
coming
gold
town.
rush. Yeah, I like it.
I like to think that 10 years from now or 20 years from now, that will become a trade mecca.
Exactly.
I could. Yes, Satan. That's exactly what I'm thinking. That some have settled there, more are coming. So exactly, the rest is tense or something. Yes. So basically, I'm thinking there are 3 tiers of living. There are the buildings, which are basically the inns, and the innkeeper lives there. And then there are some people who have who moved there maybe a year ago or so. Or actually, we said that this was about a year old, right? This place?
Yeah, exactly.
So maybe they moved here 6 months ago or something, and they've started building a little cottage, like a ramshackle cottage or something. And then there are people who have recently moved here who just straight up live in tents while they're building their cottages and stuff. And so I think a lot of carpenters live there.
It's lucrative right now because they need infrastructure. They need the town to actually be built.
Yes.
Yeah, that's good.
Lots of carpenters, masons.
Yep. Spot on. Probably smiths and metalworkers too, right?
Yes. Smiths.
Leather workers, yeah, good.
What else we have?
How do we feel about agriculture? Because I feel like they don't have a lot to work with.
I don't think they have agriculture.
The whole point is they get their
construction
food
guilds are important for settlements. Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. And I think that's where they're coming from. Most of these are guild members sent by merchants.
Right.
to live there and to help out.
I like that.
So it's like slowly becoming its own community.
What if
Maybe
the
that's why
merchant
their
trade-
relationship with merchants is so important. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
For food, yes. So that's one of the things we talked about last week, where basically, like, the merchants get to use the inns and water their horses and get the protection and stuff. In exchange, the merchants give, like, say, 10%, 5 or 10% of whatever it is they trade in. They give that to Woodsmoke. And especially because one of the towns that they're going between, their main source of income is agriculture. So they trade a lot in food and spices and similar things. So that's where they get their food. And I kind of like the idea of them having enough water to sustain themselves, but now that the town is growing, they actually do need to start getting imports of water as well.
It's good.
And so we have those kind of things. I could totally see there being a newly started church of Aqueous.
Okay. Yeah.
Or, you know, like, basically like a little chapel, so to speak.
Exactly, yeah.
Like,
Almost
imagine
a
these
mission.
old Western...
Yeah. That's what I was thinking.
Yes. Okay. It is now 8:30 GMT plus 1. And we are going to go to a break. Eli, thank you so much for
Thank you.
taking the time that you had.
Yes.
Where can people find you? Go ahead and shameless plug.
You can find me over at Dungeon Master Eli here on Twitch. I also have a YouTube and a Facebook by the same name. Right now we're doing D&D on Saturdays, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time until 10 p.m. We go later if there's a unanimous vote. I also do RPG/horror stuff throughout the week as time and energy allow. And I'm going to be doing a Call of Cthulhu campaign here on Geekier Nights after I finish my current campaign. So
Whoop, whoop.
come hang out. Cape Satan, thank you for following, by the way. I saw that you followed this week. I
Oh.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's been fun as always. Happy to be here.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And don't go anywhere. We will be right back.
See you guys.
And we are back and on the wrong side. Hang on. Sorry about this for a second. Roop. There we go. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. I saw that you guys continued writing with each other during the break, and that makes me so happy. I would also like for everyone to say hi to August, aka Small Town Salt. Oh. It's okay. Okay, there we are. Oh, wait. Shit. I forgot. There we go. Now you should be able to hear him. I forgot that I muted while we went on the break.
Well then. Wow, and here I am like, oh shit, my mic bad. Maybe, well, what if they hear my bad mic? And it's all like,
that was my bad.
They couldn't
Sorry.
even hear me in the first place. Whoops.
There it is.
Don't worry. I'm just gonna do a...
Oh. He will be back momentarily, I hope. There he is.
I am highly professional. You see, we here at Geekier Nights, we only do the most professional thing.
Yes. So for starters, let's just go through what chat wrote during the break, because I said before, it makes me super happy to see that you guys kept talking during the break. So Goose wrote, "This may be thinking too far ahead, but have it be one of those town main goals to find a decanter of endless water." We also have a thing to catch you up on there, but we'll get back to that momentarily. Small Town Salt, that's you. So I'm.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's good to have those quests in the worlds. Yeah, and they're opposing factions, like a pick your side kind of deal. Yes, absolutely. Geekier. Sarah wrote, even DMs need to pee, a bit of a pee break. Mizuki-chan wrote, yay, Cabernet, which is the character August plays in my campaign.
Yep.
And then we are caught up. So, just to recap, Goose, on the whole water situation. Water is very scarce, but there are some people who, some clerics in the Church of Aqueous, the god of rain and water, who has the conjure food and the conjure water spell, and they view it. They view summoning water from any other, in any other way, to be a sin, basically. But I do like the idea of there being like, it's basically like the Holy Grail, the decanter of endless water. There's like a legend of a decanter where water never runs out.
Yeah. I will not spoil the details, but there is a D&D adventure in where just that specific item is very important for the whole world building.
Oh.
It is the catalyst, even, so to say.
Cool.
I will not specify which adventure and so forth, and don't spoil it. It's Game Master information only.
I also missed that.
Yeah.
Cape Satan wrote that, could there be a person or group selling property around the town? Yes.
Yeah.
I love that idea, because I think up until this point, it's basically been a dibs system. People just went, "This is my land now," and started building.
Yeah. Usually, when a settlement is founded, it depends on the who gets there in the first place and starts working on it. But let's say if there's a council, they most likely would be the people that are like, all right, you are allowed to live there, you are allowed to live there, and they let you pay for property. And as a settlement grows and grows, property will be more there will be streets, there will be different segments of a city in which you can get property and like high class, low class, industrial areas and so forth.
Yeah, because I kind of like the idea of it being like, you know, these guys are the founders of this town are mercenaries virtually, and like they don't know how the fuck to run a town. They just do jobs for money, you know. So I like to think that the merchants have sent people to them to be like, hey, I'm here to help you with this part of government. I'm here to help you with this part of government.
Yeah. I would like there to think that there's a handful of people within a mercenary faction that do know how to do paperwork, simply so they can track, like paying off their workers, like the soldiers, money work. They're good at money work, at least. There might be some certain things that the merchant skills would have, like contacts, that they're more proficient with over the mercenaries.
Mm-hmm. Are there like some sort of by the book people who are trying to create a proper state? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right? I think that's kind of what that whole thing is about, where it's like before, when it was just like the mercenaries hanging around there and guarding while people slept, that kind of worked. But now that it's becoming an actual village or hamlet or town, like all of a sudden, like the merchants are like, hey, you're gonna need to start running this more properly now, and I think that's part of the balancing act, because that is a way that the balancing act can be upset if the merchants get enough people in positions of government, they can start, you know, pushing the mercenaries out to the point where they are just mercenaries again.
Yeah. If I might go on a bit of a tangent here. I don't know the details, but I know that if there's a good place, I'm going to look into it myself when it's about mercenary stuff, but the Swiss mercenaries of late medieval history are a good example of people that traveled across all of Europe to get work. Like, there were people that their job became being a soldier, being a mercenary. Yeah. Their life would be that they handled the sword. And if you look at some of the pictures, you can get some good like looks of like their how they looked. And one of my favorite weapons in like swords wise and how they look is the Zweihander. Was one of the weapons that some of them used. Like this big sword that you, if based on the name, you needed to use two hands for.
Yeah, exactly. And I just want to point out, it may seem like it was an impulse decision to bring Small Town Salt in as a guest DM, but he is actually one of the people I talked to beforehand to be one of the people. And part of the reason why is because I figure that it would be a valuable addition with your knowledge of history and being able to find inspiration from history and similar things.
And I'm glad to be here.
Zweihander is the best Dark Souls weapon. Change my mind. I'm not good enough at video games to be able to say which Dark Souls weapon is the best because I haven't gotten past like the first boss. I did get
There's a number
bit of the way through through Bloodborne, but not that far.
Not to get too, I mean, like that's a different category in and out of itself. But I'm going to say that Dark Souls has some really interesting medieval European weapons. So that will be a good thing to look into when we get to that category, like weapons, armory, and like more of the sharp edges.
Yes.
And blunt weapons.
But still,
so
moving back to what we were doing. I kind of want to see if there is like a nope, shit. I keep hitting the wrong thing. Here we go. And let's create a location building. Goose says, for sure, another of my favorite unique weapons that I use in my campaign is the Egyptian khopesh. Yeah,
that's a good choice.
That's the one that
there.
goes straight up and then like a half circle, right?
Yeah. Well, the khopesh, the shottel.
Hey, Eli!
Hey, welcome.
Is that homebrew? Oh, lol. Hey. So I'm thinking that we could start with like some buildings because it feels like there aren't a lot of actual buildings in this settlement yet. So the ones that are there are important.
Oh, I get to mention one of my favorite things. It's a super silly concept. I forget who. Well, I need to double check who it was that made it. But there's a YouTuber who, when building towns, is using a very simple concept named sperm.
In the meantime, I'm just going to read out what chat says. Cape Satan says, I wonder if there shall be a tower of some sort that has the role of a lookout. That'd be cool.
That can work.
I believe it's a homebrew out there for it.
Yeah, guaranteed. D&D's, the core rulebook has a bunch of weapons, and it also, I think somewhere along the lines, either there or in another book, they have a section of having the weapons have different names. So one weapon, like the standard longsword, can have different names depending on what sword you want it to be like, flavor-wise. But if you want it to be mechanically different, you might go the Pathfinder route and give it different qualities.
Yeah. Like when I run games, usually if someone wants to have say they want a naginata, then I'm like, okay, well, then you take a glaive and just change the name and what it looks like. It has the same properties as a glaive, but it looks like a naginata because it's like the closest thing to what they have there. With a khopesh, I would probably just change a short sword or
scimitar?
Potentially... Yeah, scimitar would probably be a good one.
Yeah.
Take the stats for the scimitar and then just say it's a khopesh.
And see.
But yeah, I do like the idea of this tower.
Having a watchtower is good.
Yeah.
So
what's a cool
tower
name?
in the middle of the
because I like the eyes of the town. It's a little wordy. So maybe you can the town eyes. Or just the eyes. Yes, I'm thinking the same thing, that it would be closer to the woods, because that would give them more of a vantage point looking down at the woods.
Yeah.
Whereas with the grassland, you can see further. The Wood Watch. Yes.
Yeah.
Love that.
The Wood Watch. You can have more than one watchtower, but they can be made of different like materials depending on. Let's say the most important tower that they made would be made of stone, while the smaller ones might be made of wood, like a hunter's tower. Like in here in Sweden we have like small towers for hunters.
Yeah. Oh man, I almost want this to be the name. Wood Watch sounds like a good name for the town.
Yeah, that could work.
And it would still be named after Bryn, because her name is Woodsmoke. Oh yeah. The name of the mercenary faction. That's it. So the Wood Watch is the tower, and the faction is the Wood Watchers. Maybe?
Yeah, it could work. We can have a list of names. I have paper and pen here, and I will make some personal notes.
But yeah.
So, about the town buildings.
Let's see. Is there... Tower wall. Tower guard. There we go. Guard tower.
Guard tower, yeah. Let's see here.
I don't know why, but I always envision, like, if you're standing at like the village, the gates to the hamlet, I always envision the forest being on the left side and the grassland on the right side. I don't know why. That's just how it appears in my head.
Yeah, yeah. So, let's see here. I'll try again about the thing I found about the town buildings.
About the sperm?
Yeah, it's social, political, economic, religion, and military. This is a video, and the concept is made by Monarch's Factory. I'm going to link the video itself
in Discord.
Over in Discord.
Yes.
And she goes through. It's a method that she has for creating a town, and these 5 sections are for filling in like there's the social aspect of having a town. There's the having different buildings like a tavern, and for being social. People need to be social. We have the political, like a town hall, a place where you get like rules set up and, well, the stuff done, sort of, the paperwork. There's the economics, the town halls of trading. There's the market and so forth, like the places where you get the money done, which seems to be a big focus of the factions. There's the religion of the different, like, worshipping people. Like, if you have a belief, is there a place for you to go to find scriptures, or having a place to worship, like a shrine or even a temple. And then there's a military. In this case, there would be all of these mercenary bands running around, but is there like a dedicated town watch, like a town guard? Is there a barracks where people can train, or at least have a rudimentary training and a place to store their weaponry? Yeah. So, yeah, that's one video that I remember that I've been using when I've been creating towns.
That's really good. Post it in the Discord, And
we'll do that right in. Where's the? Did we have a link place?
yeah, it's in chat. Oh,
Yeah.
you mean in the Discord?
In Carpe Diem, which one would you recommend?
I don't know, but
I'll put it in Carpe Diem.
sure,
Right there.
that's good. Anyway, moving on. Let's see what prompts we have. Parent location, Woodsmoke, construction date. I'm not gonna write like a specific date because we don't have a calendar system up and running yet. But I will say that
winter or summer or.
I think like within the first 3 months.
Yeah.
Meaning that, you know, like it was constructed within the first 3 months of this becoming Woodsmoke. The day became a ruin. It hasn't. Ruler/owner. We'll say Bryn. Alternative names. The Eyes, maybe. Obviously the
Northern
Watch.
Northern Eye,
Tower.
Westward Eye.
Yeah. I think basically just the tower. Because I think
it can
what
work.
they mean with alternative names here, or at least what I pick up from it, is like, for instance, what would the people living there call it? What would a merchant call it? What would the people using it call it? They would probably have some nickname for it, like the Eyes. And the merchants would probably call it the Watchtower, and the people living there would probably just call it the Tower, or something like that. Purpose: to keep an eye out for intruders from the east and wildlife from the west. Sort of. Alterations. Could the tower give light to underneath it? Oh, you mean like...
I read that. Okay, you got it.
You mean like that it also works kind of like a street light, almost?
Oh. Now I feel silly.
Yeah, so like it has a bunch of torch holders that helps light up the city during the evenings.
Sconces,
yeah. I like that. I'll put that under alterations. No, I don't know how that's spelled, so I'll just write torch holders.
Yeah, it works. An important factor of communication is if you understand it and the other person understands it, good enough.
To keep eye out for intruders from the west and wildlife from the west. Sorry, I mixed those up. And to illuminate the hamlet at night. Yeah, the architecture, pretty rudimentary. It's and pragmatic. It's not pretty. Like, I mean, it's not. It doesn't necessarily have to be ugly, but it's definitely like the idea with the, or at least that's what I get in my head, that the idea with the architecture is like, if it works, cool. Because that's the kind of vibe I get from Bryn as a person, that she's very pragmatic. She's like, I don't care how it looks as long as it works.
There's the British castle, like the English castles, then there's the Scottish castles, there's the Walish or Welsh, and Irish. It depends on where you look, but I get your point. Some of these castles can be very fancy looking.
Yeah.
But on a basic level, like the keeps, some of them are very basic.
Yeah. And I wouldn't say that this has gotten to the point of a keep yet. It's at best a fort.
Yeah.
What kind of resources are nearby that is important for architecture? Both yes and no, or like yes it is, but in this particular case, bear in mind that their main income is getting trade goods. So
yeah, I can look into that if I just get a couple of descriptions. I would be able to respond
tower in front of me.
Most likely there's some main forms of stone nearby. Maybe there's, at best, they might have a quarry for getting the necessary raw materials. Yeah. Because carrying rocks from long distances, yeah.
I just realized there is also a forest to the west, as we've established.
Yeah.
And so I could imagine that because it's dangerous to go out and you know, it's dangerous for lumberjacks to go out and to cut down trees because of the wildlife. But maybe that's like a thing that they have, like a party of lumberjacks and mercenaries that go out into the woods to chop down trees while the mercenaries protect them from beasts. And that could also be a potential quest. Hey, Tales Around the Tavern Fire! Welcome! So that could also be like an escort quest, so to speak, that the party has to go with these lumberjacks to go out into the woods and protect them from the wildlife. And as Cape Satan says, the mining city, they absolutely would give some stone as payments, especially now in the beginning. Like later on, they might not be as interested in getting stone. But now when they are building, I think they absolutely would be. And given the fact that the hamlet is so young, I'm kind of getting the sense that like wood is nearby. It's a lot easier to work with for, you know, building a quick rudimentary defense. So I think like some of the buildings, such as like an inn or something, that could maybe be in stone. Potentially the but probably not even that. Maybe they're. I'm trying to think like, August. What do you think? Like,
about
what would be the first thing that a group of mercenaries would build with stone? Would it be the wall?
They would build
the fortifications around.
A fortification. They would like a place to feel secure, to have people, like a base of operations, an armory, a place to put their food.
Yeah.
And a place to have like a office, like if they need to keep track on all their work, their people, other people, messages, letters. So and also their money, a place to keep safe their people, their money, their food, and well, their property, their own property.
Yeah, so I think like some of the older stuff is starting to be like rebuilt with stone. I think we'll get back to that. I think history. I think it was originally built by the bandits. But was then later on rebuilt properly, because like the bandits don't know that much. They basically just went, here's an elevated platform we can stand on, so that we can stand higher and see. Was then rebuilt when Woodsmoke was founded. There we go. Tourism. Nah. Or technically, it's like define tourism.
Religion. Pilgrimage.
Yeah, although I guess the tower itself wouldn't really have that much tourism, because that's kind of like meant to be.
Well, yeah. It can be a place. One of the things I thought about would be like, one of the place like young lovers can go to and like they doodle they make graffiti on the tower.
That could be. I don't know how many young couples would be there. I guess some.
It depends on because it would be fun to have a place, maybe not the tower, but another place where like lovers go and like write down their names.
Goose wrote, with all the merchants that travel through, that could make a quite interesting market. Yeah. The one thing I'm considering here is the fact that the tower specifically is like for security and stuff. So I almost feel like the tower is kind of off limits to non-mercenary personnel.
Yeah. Storage, depending on the size of the tower.
Yeah. Because I think we said the... for the whole town. The town as a whole. No, but that is a good... That is a good point. Like, for the town as a whole, you could actually write down tourism as, one of their main incomes, technically, because, like, tourism in our modern world is, sightseeing and hotels. And currently we are... And this town is basically designed to be a town with inns and stables and stuff, so... In that sense, absolutely.
Yeah.
But I think for this particular one, tourism isn't really a thing. I think it's very...
They might have... Yeah.
I think it's very like...
Sorry for interrupting.
Oh, no problem. Personally, because the town is so new and so small, I think that it would be like a... this is plainly... or just a plain guard tower. Potentially there could be like a bunk for people to sleep between shifts. And also, Goose, it's no problem. I'd rather have too many ideas than too few. So just keep them coming.
Let's see here. For the tower, it's we can write down like what rooms it has, like on a very basic level. That there's a number of rooms in the tower. They serve a certain purpose.
Yes. It actually is right here.
Oh,
on
is there a
World.
way for you to? Because the only way I can spin stream itself. If there's a way for me to see what you're doing.
If I could share my screen, but that would kind of mess up the capture.
Understandable. I'll trust whatever you say.
Okay. Let's see. Could it look like Idaho's fire lookout towers? I don't know what they look like.
Could you post the picture in Geekier?
On the Discord?
Yeah, on the Discord. If you could post a picture there.
Does the town hall have battlements? The tower could be integrated with the battlements. Teresa's trust the DM? Huh? Yes, not
well.
Teresa's.
Trust to a degree. Trust to a degree. Tower could be. Yeah.
I don't understand the reference. I hate autocorrect. Oh, not Teresa's.
Those towers. They are nice looking towers.
Let me see. In Carpe Diem, maybe? Oh!
Yeah, in Carpe Diem. Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
That's a tiny house.
Yeah. So
that's certainly a design choice. Like that's how it could be. Again, in this case, I would say that the tower itself has a number of rooms that are most guaranteed going to be in there. Like there's going to be a place to put a couple of weapons. There's going to be a place to have a bunk bed, a place to shit, a place to eat.
Yeah. Well, we haven't really talked about that, and I guess that's because, like, you don't really talk about it in D&D that often. Like,
yeah, I know.
Where do they?
It's
shit?
Just for. Well, it's a very mere. Let's just go with the very basic version of. There's a pot. It's right under the bed.
Sure.
It's very basic. It can give more flavor later on because we do have water, and the more complex you can get with water, the more complex you can get it with toilet pipings.
Yeah. Although
which can lead to a couple of fun goofier quests
in this world, as we've
yeah.
established.
Yeah. So it can be for very simple flavor at best.
So the design of one room would be like a very Spartan room with a bed, a foot locker, and like and an armor stand.
Yeah. Oh, heat source. Furnace. Heat.
Oh, yeah. And furnace. There we go. Oh wow, sensory and appearances and stuff. I think we can get back to that later on. Furnace of the Tower really fits in with Woodsmoke theme. Yes.
Yeah,
Ooh,
you can
what
have
if there
some
is,
form
like,
of.
It doubles as a landmark. So they have
Yeah.
like this large chimney, so that
Mhm.
people traveling through the forest can see the smoke from a distance away to see that, oh, there it is.
Mm.
Yeah, like a Lord of the Ring beacon. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, that can work. We'll keep this in mind as a note, not to develop too into it, but magic as for having a nice life, like in this case, heat for helping you with food. We keep that in mind. It will be important for later, for a thing that I will try to ask. Maybe not today, but down the line.
Absolutely, and
And
that
that
is
node
one of
will
the things
be
we did talk about
the-
last week,
yeah.
where one side is a little bit more technologically advanced. This side that we're working on now is a little
Yeah.
bit more magically advanced, so to speak.
Mhm.
Like quality of life stuff
And,
is more
yeah.
magic than technology.
So it's going to be good when we reach a certain point where we have a expected average of magical and technological expectancies. Like, oh, you can find someone in town who can create like a magical light source for you for a small fee, or it might be really expensive in the other town.
Yeah. Special. Smoke. Hence woods. Oh my god. I just realized, yeah. That's why they got their name, because their beacon is a pillar of smoke.
Yeah.
Smoke from the furnace creates a
Oh.
sort of beacon.
The smoke signals, I just realized, can be good to connect the town with other possible outposts.
It could be. I could definitely see, like, later on they would make like more little. That would probably be more like the tower that we saw the picture of there, the fire towers in Idaho, and
Yeah.
they could have like, what if they had like powders that made the smoke different colors? As
Oh,
a
yeah,
early
yeah, yeah.
warning system.
That's good. I like that.
Because that can be
we
explained
see
both
red
as-
smoke on the horizon.
Yeah, that could be, and that could easily be explained both with magic and with technology. Like it's either a chemical reaction or an alchemical reaction.
Yeah. There's red smoke on the horizon. Hans, what does the red smoke mean? It means that they're fucked. Oh well.
Sucks to be them.
Yeah.
But yeah. Okay, so we have the tower. We will get back to the tower at a later point, I think. I feel like we should do at least one inn.
Yeah.
What do you think, chat?
And eating, a place to eat. Well, let's see.
And once again, I just want to point out that Scott Buckley does such beautiful music.
Yeah, he's. I like his music. I've been listening to it every now and then while I'm working. It's good
Oh,
stuff.
that's nice. seeing anything from chat.
Let's see here.
I don't know if that's the lag or...
Yeah.
something
It's a
else.
bit quiet right now, but give it some
But-
time. Maybe write down so that people can maybe read it. Or have something written down.
I'll just chalk it up to it being like, okay. What kind of inn, says Cape Satan?
Well,
I don't know yet.
that's what we're sort of going to talk about.
Because, I mean, that is supposedly one of the biggest livelihoods of this town, having an inn and a stable.
Yeah.
And personally,
Well,
I love
what customers
coming
do we
up
have right
with,
now?
Quirky inns. I love just taking
Yeah.
a random name and getting like a theme for the inn based off the random name.
Yeah. That's pretty good. Doing that.
Ooh. How about we make this interesting? Can I get an adjective from chat?
An adjective.
Either an
Well,
adjective
let's see
or
what they-
a verb. Running.
Okay.
Cool. And a noun. Like sprinting. Night. So there, for instance, the sprinting sellsword. Because mercenaries. Yeah.
Yeah.
The running water. The sprinting sellswords. Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Sprinting.
So there we have an inn.
Yeah.
The sprinting sell sword. All right. Make your choice. An inn. There we go. Parent location is going to be Woodsmoke. Construction date. I would say within 6 months. What do you think?
Yeah. That can work.
Date that it became a ruin. It hasn't yet. We will get back to the owner at a later point. We need to create the owner first.
Yeah, I have some good ideas for it.
Yeah.
Or a couple of possibilities, considering that it might be an ex-mercenary.
Oh, yes. I like that. This was the first inn builds. As a matter of fact, I feel like apart from the tower, this was probably the first building to be built.
One of the first buildings, yeah. It's a place you can cook, you can sleep in. Like, it's a good place to do. It's a jack of all trades building.
Or it could be even that when this was built was when Woodsmoke became Woodsmoke.
Mm-hmm.
The Bandits' Cave.
That would be interesting. You just have the thing like be like a cat, like it's an actual.
Yeah,
it's kind of like a hill entrance, like hillock.
Yeah, or just like
I
the
believe that's
fact
where-
that you have the bandits in the name is like an homage to, like, it marks the victory over the bandits.
Yeah.
I really like that. What if it would be like the fleeing bandits?
Well, the running bandit. That's fleeing.
Yeah, that could work. Or is that too on the nose? Then again, in a way, I feel like it almost should be very on the nose.
We can keep it in mind, I would say. It's
for
an
now,
option.
We'll call it the sprinting bandits.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think that the foundation is not within 6 months of the construction date. I think it is. I think basically like up until the inn was built, it was just an outpost. Now, as soon as the inn was built, then it became a hamlet. Or, you know, like, that's when it became Woodsmoke. Go inside there. So that's like the history of it, and the tourist attraction is that it's the very first building. The first building built in Woodsmoke. Oh, thank you, Mizuki-chan. Yeah, Scott Buckley is amazing. The first building built in Woodsmoke, named named after the defeat of the bandits that previously held the outpost with the completion of this inn. The hamlet of Woodsmoke was officially founded. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. There
So
might be
I can imagine, like,
something
even-
inside. Yeah.
Even like if the city still stands 100 years from now and it's become a large city, this inn would still be there.
Yeah.
I do not know what this song is called. Maybe Sarah can help you there.
Yeah, I would imagine like this tavern. It's that sort of tavern. Like if you would see it today, it's like that sort of tavern or like bar who's really proud
Yeah, it would
of its
100% be
lineage,
K-marked.
history.
Or whatever the English equivalent is.
Hmm.
In Sweden, we have K-marked
pub
buildings
bar.
because they are cultural heritage,
Yeah.
so you're not allowed to alter them and stuff like that.
Well, if we only had that for our wall. Rip.
Architecture. Maybe just their helmets, lol.
I would say that. Yeah, I would say that this place, like this tavern, it should be layered. Like, at first it was the bandits' place, and then like there might be stuff on top that to represent like the tavern owner's taste of architecture, like decor.
Yeah, because I think when the bandits had it, they basically just had a camp with like.
They might have decored it in loot.
Yeah, I could definitely see. Is that what you mean, Goose? That you would have like the helmets of the bandits? Oh, the heads of the bandits' leader be placed. I didn't see that. Couldn't the head of the bandits' leader be placed on the entrance, nicely presented? I think
that can
might be
work.
a little bit morbid.
It's a bit gruesome.
Yeah.
Well, it
but
can
yeah,
work.
The
it certainly
helmets,
sets the
absolutely,
tone.
and you could have like some weapons that they dropped as they ran away. Maybe one person lost a boot or something.
Yeah. Hey, Ian.
Yeah.
You think about the Pirates of the Caribbean and like how people treated pirates. That we're just gonna hang them outside of our ports.
That is true.
People didn't really give a shit about criminals.
No, that is true, actually.
Might as well send a message that don't fuck with us.
Yeah, there could be like a skull above the door of the bandit leader, and there's a sign that says "Bandits beware" or something.
Yeah, carved into the skull.
Ooh, might be a little hard to see from like when you're walking.
It should be written, carved into somewhere. And I would say that the name of the bandit should be carved into the skull instead.
That could be.
Mm-hmm.
Ashen of a Fallen Year was this on? Oh.
Also, the helmet might be an interesting item as that you can reward players down the line.
That is true. Maybe it's even a magical helmet of some sort.
Mm-hmm.
And like once you complete the first like mini campaign, like the Austrian ossuary.
Let's see here. Austrian ossuary.
I'm not sure what that is.
Oh. Hey, it's skulls related.
Oh, okay.
Gavel. More than 1,000 skulls stand neatly stacked. Like hundreds of them have been delicately hand painted. The largest intact collection of painted skulls anywhere in Europe.
I like that they specified anywhere in Europe. So there's a larger collection outside of Europe.
Uh-huh.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I kind of like the idea of having like the main floor with that I'm assuming has a bar. It kind of has to have a bar, and that
they
floor
serve food,
is decorated with like mementos from that battle.
Yeah, mementos, and there might be other things like gifts, travelers, and people like patrons.
You could have one of the tavern's specialty drinks be served in a skull or something.
Yeah, that would be the special. Like, if you want to get the special drink, like if you want to get the special serving of like whatever is their cool drink or like the expensive drink, you get served in that drink. That's like the party bottle. It's the skull.
Sorry that I made us go off topic there. No, don't worry about it. This is helping build like the theme of the inn.
Yeah.
But regarding the architecture, I'm thinking very like rustic.
Yeah.
I'm gonna leave it as rustic for now. Alterations. Purpose. To eat.
There's food, entertainment, social gathering point.
Drink in. It is also the main hub for mercenary work. So, like, that's where the request board, or whatever you want to call it, is. Because the owner is a mercenary, they understand the value of having a particular place you can go if you're looking for a mercenary, or if you are a mercenary. So I can imagine that there are some mercenaries there who are not necessarily part of the hamlet per se. They are just like mercenaries who have come looking for work. Or something.
Yeah, I have a couple of things I would like to mention that this place is really good for when it comes to, well, social. Okay. Tiny rant, possibly larger. Here we go. Just break me up whenever you need.
Okay.
But having this tavern will let people have a meeting point. It's going to be a very nice place to, hang out with the skulls, the boys. Just talk about like, all right, let's travel from this point onwards. It's a nice, safe place. You don't need to get a house. Like, this is a good place to sit down by a table, chill out, talk with each other, listen to some music. You can have business meetings here. Like, it can be a place where a couple of merchants are talking about a deal. And it can be a place where a family is celebrating that their son has finally hunted down his first boar, and they're cooking that boar. Or, well, they had a butcher take care of the boar.
Could be.
Yeah, so it's going to be a very important social focus.
Yeah,
minor events can happen
here. I think there's going to be more than one inn here because of...
Yeah, there can be more than one inn, but in the beginning of when this town was formed, this was a very focal point.
Just a sec. It says, "Hey, I have to go. It was awesome meeting you all, and see you next time or in the Discord." Thank you so much, Goose. Please join us. We will be here same time next week, every Sunday at 7 p.m. GMT +1. Whatever that translates to, wherever you live. And thank you so much, and take care. Sorry, continue, August.
No. Let's see here.
Oh, right, I was...
it was really fun to talk and chat with you, by the way, Goose.
Yes. It really was.
Looking forward to more.
But yeah, so basically I'm thinking that with the large amount of people traveling through, because I think we talked about it last week, that there would be virtually like double the amount of people who doesn't live in Woodsmoke compared to the people who does live in Woodsmoke. There's only like 20 to 40 people living there.
Yeah. I would say that this place, considering that one of the main customers are mercenaries, have one of the things that you can do there is repair stuff, like repair tools. There might be a corner or a table, or like there's a service, something akin of letting you fix your stuff or get stuff that fixes stuff. Like you can buy whetstones.
And that's also a possibility. I think because we did talk about like a smithy, so we have smiths, we have a lot of carpenters right now because they're building everywhere. We have leather workers, we have so it's possible that people do that. But in general, I think like this inn is the one that caters the most for mercenary work, but I think it does so by being a central meeting hub. So I think, for instance, there could be an area specifically for mercenaries, so that people coming there looking for mercenaries can see if there are any mercenaries there.
Yeah, there might be a bulletin board.
Yeah, exactly. I think an alternative name is the first house. That it's a nickname they've given themselves because it's the first building to be built.
Yeah. There's a good question here.
Are weapons allowed in?
Are weapons allowed in?
That's a really good question. I would say yes. For this particular inn, yes. Maybe not for the others. But for this particular one, I think they are. And I also like the idea of there being a big, maybe Zweihander hanging above the bar, which belongs to the owner.
Yeah.
Maybe it's that ranged weapons are not allowed in, but melee are.
I would say...
Because if you're going to start something in the bar, you can at least have the guts to go up and do it in person.
They might have a fighting ring.
Ooh, yes. In the basement, there is a fighting ring which has a dual purpose. It's both a training pit where the mercenaries train, but it's also for entertainment and betting.
Yeah.
And I know personally as a player, I love fighting rings. When I play those types of characters, like a monk or a barbarian or something like that, I love finding a fighting pit and just going toe-to-toe with an NPC or even another player.
Yeah, sparring is very fun, and it's a very fun way of doing PvP.
Yeah. And that can also be like, that's how they settle disputes among the mercenaries.
Yeah, I could imagine that.
That's so cool. I love it.
There should be target dummies somewhere that you can eat up.
Yeah, I think that's like part of it. Like down in the fighting ring in the basement, there are target dummies that you can like drag out. There are some other things like targets for target practice with bow and arrow and stuff like that.
Yeah.
The basement. Couldn't the fighting ring be carved into the ground in the middle of the... Oh, Yes.
I like that.
Yes. That's way better.
Yeah.
Although the
Much
barrack
better.
could still be in the basement of this inn.
I mean, like
That's where the mercenaries sleep.
Well, it can just be like a hole. Like it goes like there's a hole in the first floor, and you can look down into this like the basement.
Yes. There we have it. So the fighting ring itself is in the basement, but in the middle of the first floor, there is a giant hole with a railing around it where people can stand and watch.
Yeah. I would say that one of the services in that case that they most likely would have is some form of medical treatment. Mostly because it's profitable when you know that you will have people that get hurt.
What did you say? You're back now.
Okay, I'm back. Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So one of the things that I think that they most likely would have, because it's profitable and it makes sense, is that they would have some form of medical treatment available as a service, based on the fact that there will be people getting hurt.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and maybe there's even like a veterinarian to take a look at horses, or that would probably be like the stable. The stable boy would have.
I think that fits more for the stables. Yeah.
But yeah, there should definitely be like some kind of infirmary. The basement is a training ground, and the first floor has a large hole in the middle of it with a railing where patrons can watch mercenaries fight in the fighting pit below. There we go.
Yeah.
That to me sounds really cool, because it's a combination of the two. Like, because I feel like the only problem with having a fighting ring in the middle of the inn would be the risk of collateral damage. Like if someone gets knocked out of the ring, they could be sent flying into a table full with guests, and that could be a problem. But you still get the same kind of feeling when you have just this big hole. And especially, like, imagine you're a party of adventurers and you walk into to an inn and there's a big ass hole. Yeah, there could be a magical barrier that protects, but at the same time, it almost feels a little cheap.
I would say, I mean, like, there might be. It depends on. They might have a setup for special events. They might have a barrier, then they like require the use of some like artifacts that lets them do some cooler things, depending on how big they want things to be.
Sarah says that's how I always solve that shit. Yeah.
Just throw in a shield spell.
That's often
Works
the route
as long
that I go as well, which I think is part of the reason why I'm trying to avoid it now. Because I'm trying to switch it up a little bit. Mizuki-chan says, "Good night, everyone, and guys, can't wait for the next D&D campaign. Will be epic." Yes, thank you, Denise.
Good night.
Good night. And like we've said before, what we're hoping is that after a year of doing this, we will have a campaign setting fully fleshed out and potentially even stream a D&D campaign in this setting.
Mm-hmm.
We will see what happens.
Yeah.
But thank you, Denise.
Looking
Good night.
forward to it. Bye bye.
We are also getting pretty close to the end of the stream. We have 10 more minutes.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Ah, shit. So, okay. I think we can... Should we focus it more on the tavern here and see if we can get a couple of more things about it?
I was thinking...
Or is there something else?
Thank you, Denise. I look forward to our campaign as well. But I also really look forward to this campaign coming up, because I think it'll be really cool. I was kind of thinking that we could start taking a look a little bit at the owner.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go ahead and save changes here, and I think I should be able to just go. Oh no. How do I cancel? No. Never mind. That hasn't been saved yet, I hope. Dashboard. I'm still learning how to use this properly. Character.
Yeah.
Chat, do we have any cool names for a mercenary, an ex-mercenary innkeep?
Yeah. Someone who most likely will be the bookkeeper of the events.
Oh yeah. Fat Joe.
Fat Joe. That's very mob-like.
Yeah, which is kind of why I like it. Or like, I like that almost like mob.
I like the fat part at least.
Is there a name that starts
Fat
with
Joe,
F?
Fat
Because
Joe.
alliterations are usually really useful for those kind of things. Like Fat Fred or Fat
Feeble Toe.
Yeah. Fat Fraser. Fat Florida.
Fat.
Fat. It could also be funny with like one of those ironic names.
Yeah.
Like Dainty Daryl, and he's like super gruff. Although we do kind of already have that. Kind of think of it with Bryn.
Not. It's. Yeah. Yeah.
My question
I was
is,
thinking a couple of other things. Yeah.
Yeah, Cape Satan says, my question is, does the other
I see
mercenary
the question
know him
as well.
as the innkeeper or as the hero of the guild? Hero of the guild.
At what point did he become the hero of the guild? I mean, it can't work. How old was this place again?
It's like a year, tops.
So really, so the history is
like
really
early stages
small.
of development.
Yeah, really early stages. So yeah, it can work with that the manager was part of the group that dealt with the bandits.
I think absolutely yes.
Yeah.
So,
It would make sense that he may have lost something during the fight. Like an arm.
This is so dumb. The one-armed bandit.
Well, that's a good nickname at least. Well, the one-armed bandit killer.
He could also be like Skewer or Cleaver or something like that.
Yeah. The other mercenaries most likely would know him for what he has actually done. Like other people that are new to the place and don't really know the history might really know him as the innkeeper.
What about Fat Daddy? No?
Well, you walk into the running bandit or the sprinting bandit. You see skulls decorating the halls. You see a fighting pit where people are duking it out for glory and money. And watching over the whole scene, you see Fat Daddy.
Maybe not. Maybe we'll just let's for now call him Fat Joe. Like Satan said.
I think that I would be surprised if at least one person might call him Fat Daddy.
Because it could be like a very interesting thing, like he became a mercenary to support his kids.
Yeah.
And that's why he was called Fat Daddy.
Well, that's very reasonable. Yeah. Like him settling down might be that he is able to, support, a safe place.
Or maybe Decap Danny. Because he decapitates people. He's the one that decapitated the bandits to get the skull.
That would mean that he would be the or at least he was for some time the executioner.
Ooh. Yeah. I'll write these down in the freeform texts as kind of like
That's some freeform stuff.
We'll get back to that. Because Fat Joe isn't bad. I'm just trying to find could he maybe earned it because of a long time service for the guild? That's kind of what I'm thinking as well. Like he has this nickname, probably something that corresponds to his MO. Like, does he usually decapitate people or skewer people or cleave or something like that? Or it could be like, he was on the heavier side and his name is Joe, so therefore Fat Joe. Or it could be an ironic name.
Fat Sword.
Ooh.
Or fat, like his weapon was fat, or his armor made him fat.
Yeah. It could also be one of those ironic ones. Maybe he's super skinny. And he's called Fat Joe. Because they thought it was funny, because it's like the other way around. Another one could be again, if he is this really burly, masculine kind of guy, his nickname could be Princess. Then he has a lot of stories from the glory days.
That sounds like something he would have as a
We'll return to it.
He's a storyteller. I could imagine.
Because I just realized we have 1 minute.
Okay, so let's put a cliffhanger. Put a couple of notes. Where do you go next from here?
I will write within parentheses, innkeeper.
Morgan.
It doesn't let me do parentheses.
Fat Morgan.
Okay. Fat Joe.
Okay, let's keep the name Morgan for later, actually.
Yeah, we'll save it. We'll keep it like this for now, and we will pick this up next week.
Yep. Yes.
Yeah.
Looking forward
Everyone
to it.
who's still with us, thank you so much for joining us. And as always, lots of great suggestions in chat. Cape Satan says, off topic, I just want to say that the Aztec had even more skulls saved, but also a tribe in India collected many skulls. Okay. that's the places outside of
The Aztec part, not surprising.
No, not at all.
If you would tell me that,
they played a game where the
are you
winners
surprised
got
that
to
the
be
Aztecs had
sacrificed.
skulls? Yeah.
So that does kind of track. Anyway,
Yep.
August, do you have anything you want to plug before we leave it off?
Well, I'm going to not. Well, it depends. It's more of like the YouTube channel I mentioned before. If you look up the Monarch's Factory, where Dale Kingsmill it's a good YouTube channel. I would recommend it. She has some great videos about D&D, like stuff that helps you do some being creative and some good methods and method thinking. So that's more of the stuff that I would recommend right now. I'll most likely will mention stuff like that as we go along.
Yeah.
And
sounds good. I think you cut out for a little bit there, but hopefully people could hear enough of what you said. As far as I understood it, it was basically the video you linked before, and that she had a lot of other good videos.
She has some great stuff.
Cool. I personally am definitely going to check it out.
I'm just going to mention a couple of specific things. She has like some videos talking about like different classes, and one about like travel versus exploration. Another one that tells you more about like the Kraken, and
okay,
mythos stories.
Cool. Well, and again, I'm Ian. I run this stream. And I just want to shout out to follow us, because we do a lot of spontaneous streams as well. So following doesn't cost you anything, and it gives you a little notification when we go live for our spontaneous streams. Such as last night when we played Jackbox games with Eli and some other Americans, which was a lot of fun. And also go check out Dungeon Master Eli on his Twitch. Thank you everybody for sticking with us, and we love you guys. We really do. Now take care.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
Bye.